This year's first summer banner got a delayed reveal, but it's real and we are getting another Fae original character, Vacation. On the Summer Returns banner, you can get limited summer versions of Gunnthra, Laevatein, Helbindi, and Laegjarn. In this video, we'll cover all of their stats, new weapons and skills, and discuss the general playstyles for each unit, along with some builds. First off, I do want to mention that for any new players to Fire Emblem Heroes, do know that we usually have 2 summer banners back to back, and it seems like this trend will continue since we know the next banner is also a special limited time banner. Odd enough, this first summer banner lasts an extremely long time, 49 days, all the way into August. Not July, but the next month too. This gives you a long time to scrounge up orbs. However, the next main Fire Emblem game, Three Houses, is also due to release July 26th, and there is a very high chance we get a banner with characters from that game. You'll have a lot of time to summon for these units, but just be aware there's probably going to be a bunch of other enticing banners along the way. Our first new unit is Gunnthra. She is a colorless dagger cavalier, and the only other one in that class type is Summer Laegjarn from last year. Her stats include 39 HP, 33 attack, 37 speed, 17 defense, and 24 resistance. This is basically the same stat line as Summer Laegjarn and Hot Springs Elise, our other 2 cavalry dagger units. Pretty good attack and speed paired with low defense and okayish magical resistance. Gunnthra is mainly going to want to prioritize offense and try to limit how many hits she takes. Gunnthra has 2 old skills, both which are still pretty new to the game. Rally Defense and Res Plus is a nice dual rally skill, buffing up one ally with plus 6 defense and res for a turn. Her B skill is Disarm Trap, which, if you aren't familiar, is an Aether Raids only skill. I believe it's only usable by dagger units, and if Gunnthra lands on a trap tile, if it's a real trap, she will neutralize it completely. This can be useful for those tight maps with little room to maneuver. Gunnthra also brings a new inheritable weapon, and keep in mind most of these summer weapons for this banner keep the same theme, but some do differ. The Tropical Treats Plus is a 12-mite dagger and appear to be coconuts fired with a sling. Very practical weapon. Gunnthra has a nice drink, and when she's finished she just tosses it at her enemies. The effect for this weapon is if a bonus is granted by a skill like Rally or Hone is active on unit, grants plus 4 attack and resistance during combat. So this is pretty simple. Basically the user needs to have an active field buff on them and then they get extra stats for combat. The Tropical Treats Plus can work on both phases, which is really nice, and unlike bond type effects, the unit just needs any field buff and they are good to go for their own turn. Assuming this weapon can be refined, the plus res refined gets you another 3 more res, can be quite nice, and giving Gunnthra a res field buff to activate it is an easy strategy to execute. For Gunnthra's second new skill, she has ARO, Speed and Resistance 3. This is an Aether Raids only skill that works for offense. The potential plus 10 speed and resistance is very powerful, especially for Gunnthra, but you would need to destroy all the enemy's defense structures first, and that's pretty tough to do in most cases. Most people think these skills are pretty bad, and I would agree on the offense variants. It's just not worth using over something more consistent, at least when you are attacking. Now for builds and playstyles, this batch of summer weapons does offer some nice flexibility. First off, offensive player phase builds will work with the Tropical Treats as long as Gunnthra has ally buffs or gets some self-buffing skills. Wave buffs will be best for this, and you can get odd res wave or even res wave as a seal. Gunnthra is set for Aether Raids offense, but understandably most people will replace those skills in other modes. The usual Fury plus Desperation plus Brazen Tag and Speed combo will work wonders for any decently fast attacker. You can also use things like Swift Strike, which add plus 4 speed and res when initiating. You can find that on Legault. Brazen Tag and res could be nice since Gunnthra can take a hit, but I wouldn't expect her to take multiple big ones. If you want to use Tropical Treats defensively, that works too. Play for the enemy phase by stacking up on buffs and waiting for them to come to you. Link buffs work nicely since it can self-buff Gunnthra to activate Tropical Treats. Bond skills are nice, and while they are easy to use for the enemy phase, they can work on the player phase with some thoughtful positioning. For the most part, Gunnthra probably wants to tank mages, but if you really want, you can stack up on defense with things like Distant Defense, Speed and Defense Link, or Tag and Defense Bond. Gunnthra will require some work if you plan to use her outside of Aether Raids, but she has a lot of options if you stick with the Tropical Treats dagger. Second, we have Laevatein. She is quite an interesting unit type, being a green mage flyer. Usually you would expect a fast, hard-hitting mage, but Laevatein is much different. She has 38 HP, 38 attack, 16 speed, 31 defense, and 26 resistance. 16 speed is super slow, tied for slowest unit in the whole game. However, that means all of these stat points get put into other places, and 31 defense and 26 res on a mage is pretty impressive. Decent HP and incredibly high base attack, Laevatein is definitely unique, with her closest comparison being Spring Camilla. 16 speed is pretty much unsalvageable, but there are some interesting builds that can be used despite that. First up, Laevatein has some awesome mode skills. Smite is there because she has defense and res link, which gets her some nice self buffs. She also has odd attack wave, again another self buffing skill. Sound familiar? Well, that's because Laevatein's weapon is the buoy board, and it's the same as Gunnthra's weapon. It's a 12 might green tome that grants +4 attack and res when Laevatein has a field buff active. That's pretty great here. Pretty much anything but extra speed is appreciated. Unlike Gunnthra, Laevatein comes with 2 self-buffing skills to activate buoy board, which is very nice and saves you a lot of fodder. It's a similar weapon to Picnic Leo's tome, but again, can be active on both phases, while Leo's Sandwiches Plus is purely an enemy phase weapon. Laevatein's second skill is a really good one, Mirror Impact. If unit initiates combat, grants +6 attack and +10 resistance during combat, plus the foe cannot make a follow-up attack. So this is basically the res version of Sturdy Impact, and both are incredibly good attacking skills. They neutralize the super popular quick riposte type builds many enemy phase units run, and if there is no follow-up skills, it also neutralizes the speed check. Laevatein is super slow, so even if the enemy has quick riposte and it gets cancelled out, they will still probably double her, just something to keep in mind. However, we can still attack speedy units and only take 1 counterattack back, which is great because she has good defensive stats for a mage. She can be annoying to take down in 1 round. That's not even mentioning the huge +10 res boost, and the extra attack is nice too. For playstyles, Laevatein is in a very awkward spot. Is she meant for offense or defense? Well, Mirror Impact implies offense, and with everything active, she can reach 66 attack on initiations. The problem is that she will not double anyone, so 1 round KO potential is a bit iffy. If you instead opt for quick riposte, that's a simple way to be an enemy phase tank, but then Mirror Impact isn't as important. You could run both, and that would be annoying to face in PvE, because Laevatein can get decently bulky with defense and res link active, and letting her attack first is hard to stop with Mirror Impact in place. The Buoy Board Plus is an okay weapon for Laevatein, but I think she has a better option. That's going to be the Blade Tome, and it makes sense for the highest attack green mage in the game. Basically, I feel like Summer Laegjarn is going to be the best following Spring Camilla's footsteps. Blade Tome builds deal stupid amounts of damage and also rely on field buffs just like these summer weapons. Close counter plus Vantage is nasty since it basically spells doom for opponents, since Laevatein's Vantage procs are powered up by the Blade Tome. She has the bulk to take a hit and fall into Vantage range easily. Savage Blow is great to lower more units' HP to increase one-shot potential, and it's very annoying to deal with unless you have someone who can tank Blade Tomes. Mirror Impact is a perfectly fine option too if you're okay with just player phase power, and IO's Shield can be super annoying instead of another Savage Blow skill since it protects Laevatein from one-shot bows. If that's not for you, there is also the option for a Raven Tome set. Sounds odd, but Spring Camilla can pull it off because the damage reduction from the Raven Tome and Triangle Adept multipliers do a lot to neutralize the effectiveness damage from the arrow. You'll want Quick Riposte or Vantage here, and again we are looking for one-shot KOs on colorless or blue threats. Laevatein will handle mages better than Camilla, which is a plus, and the more attack the better. This build is only really useful if you want to run Fire Emblem but need a way to stop archers. Otherwise you would just use a non-flying mage to not worry so much. If you get Summer Laegjarn, personally I think she's probably best off with a Blade Tome, which is quite fitting for her since normal Laevatein has the Blade. Our third summer unit is Helbindi. He is a sword infantry unit this time, and we definitely don't see too many of those as limited time units. Helbindi has 44 HP, 36 attack, 18 speed, 37 defense, and 33 resistance. Now, Helbindi is a very min-maxed unit, similar to Laevatein, super slow with 18 speed being the lowest for all sword infantry by a whopping 6 points. However, he has the highest defense and resistance in the group, which is pretty surprising. 37 defense and 33 resistance is beastly for mixed defenses, and with his good HP and attack stats, Helbindi should be totally fine with the standard enemy phase type builds. For his old skills, Helbindi comes with Rally Attack and Defense Plus, which grants a nice +6 attack and defense field buff to one target. His C skill is Panic Ploy, and while 44 base HP may not be the highest value out there, it's a great starting point to work with. Helbindi's weapon is the Sandfort Spade plus an inheritable 14 might sword. It has the same mechanic as the other summer weapons we've discussed, but instead of plus 4 attack and resistance, it's plus 4 attack and defense. To be honest, Helbindi could have used the extra resistance just fine, but defense is fine too. He'll make a great tank either way, and you can always refine it for more defense or extra resistance to be a little more balanced. Like Gunnthra, Helbini doesn't have a self-buffing skill, so you'll need skill fodder or ally support to activate Sandfort Spade. For his new A skill, Summer Helbindi has red dual infantry. Just like his normal version has the green variant, this skill grants a flat plus 5 HP and increases the scoring value of red infantry units when calculating arena score. Just to be clear, besides the plus 5 HP, the unit does not get any other actual stats in battle. This is a useful skill for low BST units like Dancers, and Dancer Micaiah comes to mind since she already has great firepower for dealing with green armors or cavaliers. Now, for the most part, I feel like Helbindi is being underrated. He is literally a red version of Lucas, except with 16 more base resistance, which is just kinda silly. Understandably, he will be harder to merge, but base stat wise, Helbindi is a beast for the standard quick repulse enemy phase playstyle. Sandfort Spade is an okay weapon here, but totally can be swapped for something like a Slaying Edge or the Barrier Blade if you really want a resistance tank. Bonfire or Ignis are great specials, or use their res counterparts if you go the heavy res route. All he really needs to function is quick riposte, either the B skill or Sacred Seal version, combined with a strong A skill like Steady Breath or Steady Stance 4, and you've got yourself a crazy mixed tank. Fill in the rest of the build with things like close defense, guard, wave buffs, or bond skills, and Helbindi can wall off both damage types pretty easily. He's not going to be a flashy unit, but he will be very effective at his job. Our last unit is Laegjarn. She's back on her wyvern and, like her sister, is a mage this time. Laegjarn is a flying blue mage, still a somewhat rare unit type, and she has 37 HP, 34 attack, 37 speed, 20 defense, and 21 resistance. A clear focus on attack and speed, Summer Laegjarn has the best offensive stats for all blue mage flyers. Her defenses aren't incredibly awful, but she'll probably not survive a second hit. She'll want to stay safe from range, and luckily she has the tools to do just that. First off, Laegjarn has reposition, which is great, saves you some fodder already. Her B skill is Flower Formation, which isn't bad on ranged flyers, so since it opens up a lot of attack range options for them. Her C skill is Hone Flyers, which is great for Fire Emblem buffs, and while Laegjarn herself wants its stat boost, she'll be fine passing it along to others. Laegjarn has the only unique weapon of this banner called the World Sea Wave. It's a 14 might tome that grants a flat plus 3 speed, which gives Laegjarn an impressive 40 speed. If she is above 50% HP and initiates combat, Laegjarn can make a follow-up attack before the foe can counter. This is the exact same effect as Lewin's Forseti Tome, and you can think of it like a reverse desperation effect where Laegjarn wants to stay close to full health at all times. It's an incredibly powerful effect, giving Laegjarn protection from counterattacks as long as she gets a double. 40 base speed is great for getting follow-up attacks, but not good enough just yet. Laegjarn's second new skill is Swift Sparrow 3. If unit initiates combat, grants plus 6 attack and plus 7 speed during combat. Finally here to compete with the other strong A skills, Swift Sparrow 3 is just a straight upgrade over its old counterpart, great for pure player phase builds, and that makes it amazing for World Sea Wave. Laegjarn is going to be initiating with 47 speed and 54 attack, which is plenty scary. Overall, it's a perfect skill for Laegjarn, but Swift Sparrow 3 still has strong competition with other skills like attack and speed solo or impact skills. It's a good A skill, but it's not the best in slot at all times. As the pretty obvious chase unit for this banner, Laegjarn is ready to go out of the box. Pretty much a blue version of Lewin minus Special Spyro, Summer Laegjarn will still dish out a lot of damage with her 2 consecutive attacks. Swift Sparrow 3 is great for the pure player phase playstyle, and Flower Formation allows Laegjarn to be tricky when she has other flying allies nearby. If that's not enticing for you, then she can also use Chill Res for extra damage or Chill Speed to retain air superiority when trying to get those follow-up attacks. You can go with anything in the Sacred Seal slot. More attacking speed is nice, or you can try to make Heavy Blade work, although you'll want extra attack buffs for more consistency. Aerobatics can be a fun option too if you got nothing else. Overall, Laegjarn's game plan is super simple and ready to work from turn 1. Initiate, get a follow-up attack, and dish out 2 consecutive hits. It's easy to execute and brutal if not dealt with early. That wraps up this banner breakdown, but if summoning isn't your thing or you plan to wait out that insane 50-day open window, then you can look forward to Summer Laegjarn as our next Tempest Trials reward unit. She's an infantry axe unit with some neat stats and skills, and we'll talk about her more when the Tempest Trials releases. Let me know if you are summoning on this banner, and feel free to suggest builds for everyone in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.